Okay, so just a quick recap. Yesterday we have learned how to declare array list set in Lightning component. Also, we have discussed about the Lightning object controller, which is nothing but a server-side controller. So we have seen backend architecture, like how the server-side controller works and what is the data that sits in the server-side controller and what is the client-side controller also. And then we have created a one class with the AuraEnabled method, and we call that method in the Lightning controller. So that is a client-side controller, we called it. In order to call, we followed some steps. So basically, whenever a program runs on the client end or in the local machine, we will call them as a client-side controller, right? So whenever a client-side controller want to access the server-side controller, then there are few requirements that we have seen yesterday. The first one is like whenever we wanted to call server side, we have to declare the AuraEnabled annotation before the method. Then only the Lightning controller will be able to access the method. So if the question is, for example, I have a 5 methods, okay, and all of these 5 methods are called from the Lightning controller. So if the question is like, do I need to write AuraEnabled for each and every method? Yes, if Lightning controller is calling this method, then we have to declare it as a AuraEnabled annotation. In case out of 5, only 2 methods are called from the Lightning controller, then only 2 methods is required the annotation AuraEnabled. And so today we'll see, yesterday we have seen how to get the data from server side to controller side. Okay, today we will see how to pass the data from Lightning controller to, which is like client side, controller to server side controller. Okay, we will see this. So for that, we'll create a one new Apex class. Class is 1504 and the class name is, let's assume that passing the data from client side controller to server side controller. So let's take an example, like I'll pass the account details from controller side to server side. So which is nothing but like let's create a new account. Okay, so based on the client side server details, I'll be creating the new account. That is a DML operation, which is inserting a account in server side. Okay, so the class name, let's put it as a create account. Create account. This is my class name. Let's write the method public static and the string. Let's return the return type as a string. Then the behavior or the business logic inside this method is creating a new account. Okay, so this is a method, and this time we'll pass the parameters. Let use the parameter, like I need a string name, string rating, string phone number. Just a second. String phone number. So let's take only these three values. Okay. And the logic is I need to create a new account. This is the logic that I wanted to implement. So let's take a try catch, because during the insert, if there is a issue happens, we can capture that information in the catch. Okay. So now I have a skeleton structure. In order to create a new account, I need to initialize the account. Okay, what are the details that I have? One is name. And another one is I have a rating. And the phone number. Now let's use the insert. Okay. I'll declare one string value to return the string. This method is requesting a return value string. So let me declare a string, which is a result. Okay. So let me put this result equal to account.id. Account is created successfully. Okay, so if it is an error, I wanted to set the result equal to account creation failed. And then I'll put the message. Okay. So let's return the string value to the client side server. Okay, so this logic is simple. I'm creating a account. In case during the creation of account, if there is any issue, I'm setting the result. At the end, I'm passing the string value to the client side. Okay. Now, in order to call the Lightning controller to call this method, I have to enable this. So AuraEnabled annotation. Now let's go back to the Lightning component. I'll create a new Lightning component. LC underscore 1504. I'll take a different name because my class name is a create account. I'll take Lightning account. Okay. The first thing I need to, in order to call that method, I have to call the class. Aura component, in order to call the class, I have to use the controller key equal to my class name. So I'll not write any Lightning input or anything for now. I'll just take one button. Lightning button. Here I'm not using the Aura handle because on load of this component, I do not want to call the Apex side server side controller. Okay, because I do not want to display on loading of this component. I do not want to display any data by getting the information from server side. Lightning button, and let's put the label as new account, and my action is on click equal to c.handle create account. Let's close this. Okay, let's copy this function method name. So let's copy here, and I need component event helper. Okay, I'll open the helper method function. I need a parameter component, comma event, comma helper. Okay, now let's call my method. So what are the steps to call the method? The first step is I need to call server side method. That is the first step. And the second step is pass the parameter. And the third step is invoke callback function. And the last one is EnqueueAction. Okay. Now, in order to call the server side method, I need to declare a var action equal to Component.get, and my method name is create new account. Okay. Whenever we call a method, we have to use the C. If we have to call the helper or controller also, we have to use the C. If I wanted to call another component within this component also, we have to use C. So C represents a component kind of thing. So if I'm calling any component, whether it can be Apex or whether it can be Lightning controller or another Lightning component, we have to specify the C. Okay, now call server side method is done. Now second step is pass the parameter. In order to pass the parameter, action dot setParam. Okay. Now for setting the parameter, what are the parameters are expected here? It is expecting the name, rating, phone. Name, rating, phone. Okay. And this, what are the parameters are there? Put it in the double quotes. Everything will be a string here. Okay. For now, I'll pass the data hard-coded value. Name is Microsoft. Rating equal to critical. And phone number equal to something. 887765. Okay, this is my parameter that I am passing it. 3 parameters I'm passing. Okay. And the next one is setCallback. So in setCallback, action dot setCallback what is my standard key here? This comma function response. Okay. This comma function response. So the response will be a string. Okay. I'm not storing any value in the Lightning component. I'm not using any attribute. So for now, whatever the response that comes from the server side, I just wanted to display in console.log or alert, where res equal to response dot get return value. Okay, and let me put alert or console.log. Result res. Okay, now I'm done with the calling the server side method, passing the parameters, invoke callback. Now the last step is EnqueuAction. $A dot EnqueuAction, and I have to pass this action here. Clear so far? So
yeah, clear.
So only the difference is between the yesterday program and today program is passing the parameters. Yesterday we were just displaying, getting the data from server side, showing it on the client side. Today what we are doing it, we are passing the information from client side to server side and creating the new account. So let's save this. Unexpected token source. This comma function response. Okay. So in setCallback, whatever the logic we are writing, everything will be within the setCallback. Okay, let's save this. Use this method in the controller. What is the logic we are doing it here? Calling the helper method. Calling the helper method. Helper dot, whatever the helper method name is there. Component dot, component comma, event comma, helper. Let's save this Lightning controller. And this is saved. Now I have an existing application. I'll use that application. My component name is C colon LC underscore 1504 underscore Lightning account. I'm closing this. Let me preview the app. Okay, so I do not have any information on the Lightning component. I just have a button. Okay, there is no layout card or anything, nothing is there. So as soon as I click on this, what it should happen, it should create a Lightning account. Okay, let me go to the account first, see. So new this week, nothing is there. Let me click on new account. Account is created successfully and this is the ID. Okay, let's refresh this. Okay, so one account is created with the phone number, account name, and I did not pass any other information. Okay. Now, so let's go back to the Lightning component. So if you look at the invoke callback function, I'm just taking the response. I'm just taking the return value. Okay. But I want the return value only when the state is successful. When the state is successful, only that time I wanted to capture the information. So I'll declare var state equal to, in order to get the state value, response dot get state. Okay. And if state equal to success, then only capture my return value. Okay. So this is when the state is successful, then only I wanted to capture the information. So like this, we have a different action state for the EnqueuAction. So right now I have just taken the success. Different actions, action state for EnqueuAction. Okay, what are those? The first one is new. State equal to new. New is nothing but the action was created but is not in progress yet. That means it just called. It just created, the action is created, but it did not process yet. Then we have another one, which is a running. This is nothing but the action is still in progress. It's not yet completed. And then we have a success. Action executed successfully. That means there are no errors. And we have another state, which is an error. While executing the server side, if there are any issues happen, then it will return the error. The state will be error. So this is server side. So this is basically server return the error. And next we have a incomplete. Incomplete, running, both are similar. But running means it is still in the process. It might complete in some time. Incomplete is it's not yet completed. That means server did not return any value. Did not return the value. Either it may be internet connection or some issue between the client-side controller and server-side controller. And the next and last one is aborted. This is basically when it is deprecated or aborted between the client side and server side because of some other reason. So both the connections are lost somewhere. This we did not see till now. I have not seen till now aborted, incomplete. But in case if you wanted to identify performance or anything, then we have to use this. So mostly we will go for the success and error. Like once I'm done with the server side, then only I need a response. Otherwise, if it is an error, then I wanted to show that error to the user. So here I have used the state equal to success. But in case if the state is not equal to success, then what other state I need to look at? So the other state is, let's take the error. Okay, if it is an error, let's put alert here. Maybe please try again later. If state is successful, then I wanted to store the information, get the information. If it is an error, I'm just showing the alert. Okay, so here within the third step, what are the different steps are happening here? The first thing is that .1, I'll get the state, whatever the state it might be, success or error, incomplete, new, whatever it might be. And next, I'll get the response. Step 3.2, get the response from the server side. Okay, server side controller. And next, what I am doing, based on the response in real-time scenario, we'll do some logic here. Calculation or some logic, concatenating some data, displaying it in the table. So we'll do logic once I get the response from client-side server. Let's save this. Okay. Now let's go back here. Refresh Aura app. Click on a new. It is created successfully. In order to show the error, I'll just say name, I'll remove it. Control S. Now refresh again. New. Result is account creation failed. Okay. There is a missing requirement. It failed itself here. It did not come the alert. So the result is failed. So let's debug this. And also, if I comment this EnqueuAction, it does not work anything. If I comment this, As soon as I click on this, the enqueue action is, if it is not there, it does not call the controller. Okay, from here, I'll just show you the execution of the controller side to server side. Okay, I'll click on new. So the first step is it will call the method and go to the next. Next, it will set the parameter. It set the name, rating, phone number. And then it will call the setCallback. Okay, it just call the this one and this one. Let me put break inside also. But it did not go to the inside of logic. It just executed. That means it is invoke the callback. But whatever the inside data is there, it will not execute it. After invoking, it will call the EnqueuAction. So once the EnqueuAction is executed, then it will back to the state. That means EnqueuAction will enable, it will put the, whatever the method we are calling, it will put it into the queue. And it will call the server side. So once this is executed, then only inside the invoke callback function, whatever the logic is there, that gets executed. Now I'm getting the value. What is my state? State is successful. I do not have the error here. This logic is executed successfully. Fine, this logic is executed successfully. Only during the insert it is a problem. But if it is failed, like if I have a if condition here, or there is a for loop, or something is there here, and which failed to execute that if condition, then only it will come to the catch. But right now I have this information, and while inserting it failed, and I'm getting the result. Okay, I'm passing this. So it is executing, initializing it, a.name equal to blank, a.rating equal to rating, a.phone equal to phone. But while inserting, it says that this particular piece is missing, name is missing. So it will come to the catch. In catch, I'm not throwing an error. I'm setting the result. That means this result, I'm setting it. Whenever I get the value from the server side, I'm getting the state equal to success. If it is a failure, like if I say here return equal to some null or something, then I'll get the error. Then if else condition, it will execute. So now I have the value. It says result is failed because I do not have the name. Okay. Let me stop the recording. Now, before stopping the recording, I just wanted to say, for example, right now I am calling here one method. Okay. And for example, I have a multiple methods within this. Okay. As soon as I click on a button, I want two methods to be executed from the server side. I have a create new account. There is another method here, which is a validate account. Two methods I need to call. So in that case, what you can do is you can directly get the record here itself and declare the action 2. So this is a validate account. Okay. For action 2, you have to pass the parameter. Action 2 set callback. Action 2, you have to pass here EnqueuAction. Okay. So in one method, you can execute it. Or if you want to separate it because action 2 has a different logic, then you can write another helper method below. Write another helper method here. Call that helper method from Lightning controller. So as many as based on the requirement, you can call the Apex side controller, but make sure that Apex side controller has the less logic which is required, DML or some kind of a different parent child, grandchild information, or you are doing some wrapper object you are passing it, or map collection details you are passing it, then only we have to use the Apex side controller.